I have the pleasure of introducing our speaker today. I need to move something first. Our speaker is known as the loud poet. So in the spirit of that, I will attempt to do something akin to that. I wasn't planning this, but as the creative consciousness happens, the flow of it that we dip in and out of, I woke this morning with part of a poem in my head and just sat there while I was in that in-between state and did the rest of it. So this one's for you. I will attempt to be a little louder and more... It's St. Patrick's Day. Okay, I'm ready. Okay. A poet walked into church one day. Everything rhymed that he had to say. He spoke of truth and love and laughter. He dared to speak of the hereafter. When all was said and all was done, the people smiled bright as the sun. They said, "We really want some more. We ask of you, we do implore." And so Bruce set him up to speak. The people got what they did seek. With no further ado, I offer to you the inimitable Scotty Scott. He may tease you a bit with his razor-sharp wit, but I'm sure you will like him a lot. Lloyd did the last two lines. He heard mine, and I forgot to mention, he did those last two
All right.
lines.
Thank you, Lloyd.
He added that in. It was just a perfect ending. Yes.
All right. Nicely done. Wow. What a mixed bag of emotions today. All kinds of stuff going on. All kinds of stuff has just gone on. Michael is still sharing himself with this place as the service today has shifted based on his energy. And mixed in with the St. Patrick's Day weekend. And I thought too, we often hear talk of a wake at an Irish home after someone has made their transition. And for some of you who may not know why, and why it was called a wake, it was actually because 100 to 150 years ago, the medical skills being as limited as they were, that they would party hard and loud in an attempt to, just in case the person hadn't actually died, that they might actually be able to wake them. Because a hard-drinking Irish guy could lay there for a few days, you know? So, but with Michael, it's been, a couple of weeks. He's pretty much, I don't think he's going to be walking in the back door anytime in the next hour or so. But lots of stuff going on, lots of things going on. And Sarah, delightful to see you for the second time this morning. Wonderful to see you. So, this was an interesting bag this week as I was, she's sneaking back there already. As I was putting this together, Spirit kept throwing stuff at me and saying, "Here, do this, here, do this, here, do this." I'm like, no, you realize I only have a few minutes to speak. This is not a 5-hour marathon. The Shamrock Marathon could be going on in here today. I don't think so. And by the way, you're having green lunch today. I wanted to mention, I did see some meat at the supermarket a couple of days ago that probably would fit in just fine, but I'm not sure they're going to pay $10 for it. So. Okay, we got that out of the way. My topic today is Pray for God. And this poem has nothing to do with it. Again, just because I was guided here, put this poem in. Okay. This is a poem I wrote based on a line I got from a talk that somebody else gave on a Sunday, where they talked about from the center of your being having the energy that goes out to your perimeter. And I had never actually thought of myself as having a perimeter. Now, I've dropped 90 pounds in 10 years. I once thought of myself having a circumference, but not necessarily a perimeter. So So I was writing from the center of my being to my perimeter, but the advertising agency guy in me went, wait a minute, shorten that. From the spark to the ark. Ooh, wow. That's a book at best and a miniseries at the least. So here's my poem called From the Spark to the Ark. In the beginning, there was this void at which God got a touch annoyed. It was full of nada, zilch, and zip, till God opened up the holy lip. Let there be light, quotes the holy prose, and they let it be, and the light arose. And it was good and fine and fair, and you could finally read if you were there. God let loose a few more letter B's, and suddenly there were skies and trees and fish and fowl and clouds and dust, and God even threw in a couple of us. From the spark to the ark, don't you sit in the dark. If you don't have wings, make yourself a lark. The beginning's a very good place to start. Make your mark as you hark from the spark to the ark. Now Moses, he found himself quite perplexed. He roamed like his sheep, restless and vexed. He used to be Pharaoh's little sprat, till he found he was someone else before that. But God had a plan and gave it a push when God showed Moses this burning bush. It lit quite a fire up in his heart, and his trip down the mountain was just a start. He passed along every word that came through. He passed along plagues of gore and goo. He passed the Red Sea and he passed the sand, and his people passed over to the promised land. From the spark to the ark, don't you sit in the dark. Drop your chains to the floor as you disembark. You can part any sea, you can walk past the sharks. Make your mark as you hark from the spark to the ark. Now, as Jesus conducted his ministries all along the shores of the Sea of Galilee, he put fish into nets, made fishers of men, calmed storms, walked on water, and then they said, these miracles sure are great. We give them 12 on a scale of 1 to 8. But where do you get such miraculous might? To which Jesus said, I am the light. And then he added, and you are too, and greater things than these shall you do. To your faith and action I assign, and you do the miracle. Do you get it this time? From the spark to the ark, don't you sit in the dark. With a 5-speed shift, why do you choose park? Jesus showed the way. Why are you still at start? Make your mark as you hark from the spark to the ark. Now, how about you? Do you have an ember that God is wanting you to remember? Are you carrying around this holy glow? Then haul it out and let it go. The doors are open. The path is lighted. Your holy nitro has been ignited. You're going to hide it in your wallet or purse, or let it loose on the universe. Waiting for a shove or maybe a push or a burning bush up under your tush? Then use this poem to help you glide. After all, it's a spark I had inside. From the spark to the ark, don't you sit in the dark. When you're Superman, don't keep acting like Clark. Every thought is a thing with a life and a heart. Make your mark as you hark from the spark to the ark. I should just go sit down now, it's late. Anyway, pray for God, right? Doris called me up and said, okay, what's your talk title? I don't have a talk title yet. I said, it's Pray for God. She said, what? I said, pray for God. She said, you're not supposed to do that. You don't pray for God. God has everything God wants. Why would you pray for somebody who's got everything he wants? I said, well, yeah, but that's the reverse of life, you see. Sometimes in life, you need to do the reverse. You need to twist it out a little bit. Sometimes in life, exactly the opposite of what you think you need to do is exactly what you need to do. Pray for God. What would happen? Where you are and what you're in the middle of, there are infinite possibilities in front of you. The times we get the absolutely most frustrated is when we don't see them. People who live in poverty level and who are stuck there and can't see a way out. They're the most frustrated human beings in the world because they don't see possibilities. They don't see choices. And there are infinite possibilities in front of every one of them in every single moment. Some of your greatest possibilities exist right behind you, and you don't know it because you're facing forward down a path and you've locked into that path. And like they say, sometimes the light at the end of the tunnel is an oncoming train. Get out of the way. The logical path is not always the next place to go. Look around. So today, pray for God. It's like, are you out of your mind? Well, I hope so, because I do my best spiritual work when I'm out of my mind. I'm not just being contrary, but sometimes contrary is good. I remember when I first took over as youth ed director at Unity Renaissance, I did that job for about 4 years. I formed a steering team. Oh, man. Did you ever notice that the steering team, it's like, you ever had a car where you handed all 6 people the steering wheel and it said, here, go ahead.
That's when it goes steer crazy.
That you go steer crazy, yes you do. And the car becomes one of those little clown cars that breaks into pieces and goes all over the place. I formed a steering team. My steering team was going to guide the ultimate productive capability of the youth education program at Unity Renaissance Church. And for the first 4 monthly meetings, we discussed snacks. Snacks! It was important. What? Snacks. Because some of our children needed gluten-free. Some of them had allergies to peanuts. Some of them didn't like seafood. Well, we didn't do seafood as snacks anyway. But they wanted to get their point across. So each monthly meeting, we discussed which snacks might be good. Now, at that time, the church was serving snacks in the classrooms near the end of the classroom time. It was a big deal. Now, why we were serving snacks at 11:30, as the kids are going to come out of class and go to lunch with their parents. Now, if I'm a parent, don't feed my child food at 11:30 when I'm taking him to lunch at 12, because I'm probably going to spend money on the stuff at 12 o'clock. And he's going to go, but I'm full. So meeting after meeting went by as we discussed the appropriate snacks for the children. Could we regulate a certain schedule? Were the gluten-free kids in a divorced household to where they were only here every other week? And so we could glutenize our children every other week. The topics got grander and grander. Finally, in the 4th month, it was decided fruit was a wonderful idea. And so I sent the fruit lady, who had been on this kick since the first meeting, out to price fruit for a month. Tell me what it will cost for us to provide fresh fruit to our children for snack. It's the healthiest thing we could all possibly agree upon. She came back. It was going to cost $50 to $100 a week to provide fresh fruit as snacks. My entire youth ed budget was $2,500 for the year. That included curriculum, that included supplies, it included craft materials, and it didn't include fruit. But the fruit, had we voted on it, would have replaced the curriculum, the supplies, the craft materials. So I thought about it, and I said, what's the opposite of all this? Let's not do snack. And they went, but we've just spent 4 months talking about this. I said, yes, and I appreciate your cooperation in this. But we're no longer going to do snacks. The kids will complain. Some will. And yes, the middle school kids particularly complained they didn't have chips at 11:30. The teachers were overjoyed. They didn't have to clean up snack food as they were clearing the classrooms. The parents were overjoyed. Their children ate the lunch they paid for 30 minutes later. Sometimes the exact opposite of what you think you need to do is what you need to do. So we pray for God today. Now, I was also inspired to bring in this book, Resurrection by Neville. I love Neville stuff. I don't even know where I found this. But it's actually a bigger book that's made up of 5 of Neville's books. Well, on the very first page of the very first section of the very first book. It reads, number 1, the law of reversibility. I went, oh, that's exactly kind of like what I'm talking about. We're going to pray for God, and we're going to talk about doing the opposite. Let's talk about reversibility. And I read on in here. It talks prayer is an art and requires practice. But it also talks about the key, the universal law of reversibility is the foundation on which all claims of successful prayer are based. And if you remember the secret, we remember the secret. We're a New Thought church. We remember the secret. In the secret, they talk about you've got to have that feeling. It's not just enough to say, because Jesus talked about when you pray, pray as if you have already received it, and you will receive it. But he didn't say pray as if you already received it, like to say, oh, thanks, I got it. No. He wants you to feel it. Pray as if you've already received it. Feel in your heart that it's already here. And you go, oh, yeah, that's what that feels like. Because I know that twice in my life, I've had a dream in which I won the lottery. So not only can I pray as if I've already received it in a dream, I've felt what it feels like to win the lottery. My bank and I have a disagreement on whether or not I have yet, but I know what it feels like. And so I can pray as if I have already received it because that feeling is there. I can't wait. It's 400 million on Tuesday night. If you take the one-time payout, it's 260. After taxes and tithes, it's 130. Okay, it's going to be good. So Jesus said, pray as if you've already received it. And what Neville talks about in the book is because once you can get the feeling, you get it, whatever it is. The law of reversibility is one of the laws that governs the universe. Because all energy is a circuit. When we talk about abundance and prosperity and we say, oh God, I'm broke. God says, yes. God always agrees. The universe agrees with you. I'm broke. Yes, you are. I have terrible needs. Yes, you do. I have nothing. Well, okay, if you want to believe that, go ahead. But if you pray as if you've already received it, I am an abundant and prosperous child of God. I have more than everything I need. I have an opulent life. The universe says, yes, you do. Yes, you have. And you know what? Stuff starts to show up that you didn't think was going to show up. So what do we do to pray for God? God's sitting back going, okay. Of course, this is assuming you believe in a transcendent form of God. If you believe in an immanent form of God, as we say in the scholastic circles, then what you're praying for is the God within. You're praying for yourself. Boy, that's pretty selfish. But you're praying for the part of yourself that you don't often let get to work. We're so busy sometimes working on this physical manifestation that we don't even let the God come through us. And the God that comes through us is an infinitely powerful, loving, peaceful, joyful being. So if you're going to pray for God, and I think you should pray for God to come through. Get everything else out of my way and come through. Because when you pray for God and God comes through, then you're going to have that amazing life that you just said, I am an infinite, abundant, opulent being. Because God's going to go, great, get out of the way, I'm coming through. Because that's all it takes. Just get out of the way of spirit. Let spirit come through and be spirit with your face on the front. Spirit wrapped in your human suit. That's all it takes. You can do the miracles. Jesus said you could. Lots of other people have said you can do this stuff. All you got to do is get out of your own way. So when you pray for God, just pray for God to come through. That's all you got to do. It's the law of reversibility. And then when you're praying for that, feel it already. Feel what it feels like to have God come pouring through. I wrote something down as I wrote pray for God down. And it said, a cup of wonder. I was like, what does that mean? And so that's a whole separate talk. And I found out it is. But what it was imagine you were holding something, a cup. You know, and we're not even talking Holy Grail here. We're just talking a regular cup. But if somebody handed it to you and said, this is a cup of wonder, drink it. and you drank it, what would it feel like to drink wonder? What would it feel like to have wonder coursing through your physical body, passing through and by your heart center? What would it feel like to have a body full of wonder? Well, the next time you meditate, go there. Because you do. You have it. It's you. So I'm going to finish up with this poem I wrote about 11 o'clock last night. It's called Pray for God. It seemed to go with the topic of the day. Which wasn't really that long to begin with. Pray for God. Help is needed in some cosmic classified. So I dimmed the lights, turned on music, hit that quiet place inside, got to center, found my mantra. Thank you, TM, for my skill. Thank you for that. Soon, with Kundalini glowing, I was one with divine will. Dear Spirit, I am now responding to your posting in the Times. I hope this prayer is helping you. Hope it's clear. I hope it rhymes. From deep within there came a voice vibrating from within my bones. Right away I knew 'twas God. It sounded just like James Earl Jones.
You read the ad and followed through. And they say that print is dead. So now you sit in lotus pose. You've got me in your heart and head. To pray for me, to lift things up, you really need to pray for you. Pray your clutter steps aside, that I will clearly power through. That's all that Jesus did, you see. The Christ within flowed right out. Other masters did the same. They glow or heal or jump and shout. Now I need you and millions more to pray and let it be no bother for me to come through clear and strong. And by the way, I am your father.
So now I'm back from far away to pass this quest along to you. Don't hold back. Let God rush right through.
There is no try. There is only do.
Thank you.